Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out the Bismarck B. Celiacs. Here's the build. I got Haruna, Von Hipper, both secondary perk inspirations. If you don't have the Haruna, go with Geisla for these secondary builds. All in on the secondary mods, everything else. Two clips for you here. One a little bit higher scoring, and the second one higher damage. Alright, so a little bit for everyone. But as we're getting into position this first game here, I'm going to briefly go over the stat differences between this and the tech tree version of the Bismarck. Both of them tier 7 battleships. But the tech tree version, on my builds, of course, the range is 15.6. And on this one, 14.9. Shorter main gun battery range. Okay, now these aren't meant to be sniping from low Earth orbit anyways. So it behooves you to move forward with these German battleships. But keep that in mind. The tech tree version, longer range with main guns. Traverse. Better on this one, actually. 36 on the tech tree and 34.6 here. So a little bit of a balancing factor there. And the secondaries. The main difference that interests me, because I like to use these as all in on the secondaries, of course. Regular Bismarck on my builds, 11.8 kilometer range. 12.3 on this one, making it the longest range secondaries in the game. All right. One other minor difference to point out, AA actually better on the tech tree version. The rating, the overview rating, 77 compared to 70 on this, without doing too deep of a dive on the AA stats. A little bit of a difference there. Now, it's not, you can make the argument it's the king of the secondaries, sure. Others would say the rubric still is. Of course, that still is very long range. Huge array of guns, it's got everything. But the German battle cruisers, secondary HE shells actually have better penetration than these ones, and I feel like they're a little bit more accurate as well. So I'd still give the nod to the battle cruisers, but in terms of this main battleship line, the Bismarck B is of course the current king. All right, and it's a lot of fun to play here. This one, jumping into this game, this is going to be a higher scoring game. It's going to be just shy of a 3K game. We're going to look at the first few minutes of it here. I want to explain to you why the scoring gets so high, though, because the finishing damage we'll probably see on this brief clip. Jeez Louise there. Let's dodge these torps first off. We're going to see about 40k damage or so, and then we'll fade out, and we're going to miss about 40k. So it's about an 85k damage game, and we're going to get just shy of 3,000. Why is that? Base resets. Those green flags, yes, we get plenty of those. And damaging these destroyers, damaging these cruisers. Oh, nice big juicy gap there that we somehow managed to miss. Should really have the sonar engaged in this sequence right here, since we are pushing destroyers or pushing cruisers, Japanese cruisers in particular, with long-range torpedo attacks. No reason to not be using the sonar here. When I was playing, I was thinking, okay, if I can get really close to Sakazuki, maybe I can use the sonar to keep him permalit. As you see here, he drops spot, but still, we need to keep the ships alive, so you might as well be using the sonar there. And deal with the ship in its own way, in its own right. But getting back to the scoring for newer players, you need to understand equal damage hit against a destroyer versus a battleship, much higher scoring for the destroyers. What does that mean? If I do 1,000 damage on a destroyer and I do 1,000 damage on a battleship, the 1,000 damage is going to be a much higher XP score. Conversely, more credits and all the goodies that we're pushing for against the destroyers. Okay, it's the scoring is determined by the percentage of the ship's health that you're taking. Okay, so low health destroyers, not only are they more strategically valued for you than lobbing shells at battleships parked on the moon, but you're actually going to get far better scores for yourself, making your grinds and everything else quicker. So the game does generally reward good play through the scoring system and the leveling system. Just want to point that out. Here we're rushing in, though, and you can see, look at this Bismarck B. Now, we're on the C column, sure, but we're in the middle of the map, and it's about 4 minutes into the game here, and this is a dominant position. We've wiped out the destroyer. We've wiped out the cruiser, the Suzuya. Both of these dangerous, and we're trying to capture the base. Of course, that's our main goal over here. Once we've cleared the side, we've killed everything else. Of course, we need to capture the base. That's the whole point of the game. Fiji, he was the one whacking me earlier. I'd love to give a revenge shot on him, but here comes the Benson. Of course, he's got revenge of his own in his eyes. Now, we saw he was about to hit the island there. Might as well wait till he hits it, comes to a full stop. It makes the aiming easier. We're still trying to capture the space. You can see we're slamming on the brakes here, but I do need to turn, hit the gas a little bit, trying to angle towards him. We don't want to be taking a full salvo from the Benson, of course, in the broadside. That would be lights out. We got 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Wisely, he opens up with the gun, gets the reset. Our secondaries, our main guns, we're trying to deal some damage, trying to get him off, but he is going to get some critical damage here. 1, 2, 3. We do the damage con as the third torpedoes entering the side of the ship there. Heal the flood a little bit early, and we're under the protection of the damage control until the consumable is no longer active. We can't be set fire or flooded again during that. So just a minor tweak, but a way to save a little bit more HP. Squirt it out of the base. And where's our destroyer? Okay, well, he's pushing this destroyer. We're going to stop here. We're going to attempt to slow or back up into the base, recapture it. But why I'm concluding this clip after this play concludes is because what we're doing here, we're preventing this guy his escape. Both me and the destroyer that's visible to the south of me. The Benson can't come through here. Of course, he's going to get shredded by the main guns, the secondaries. Can't go north and to the east. Again, we got both of those exits covered. And now the destroyer on B, the blue destroyer, is pushing into him. And we're going to hammer him there and take him off. So good teamwork there. But that's a good play to point out there. We were number one capturing the base, but we were also dealing with that destroyer by limiting his options to disengage. So a pretty good clip there. And you'll see here in a moment the score was pretty high in that game, despite being just shy of 90,000 damage. Game of Dude take the top score there. And then here we got a domination mode Northern Waters clip, and this one's gonna also be a relatively short clip, but we're going to be slamming a huge amount of damage into that. So there's a lot of action coming up in this one. And this is what you want to be doing with the Bismarck. Number one, it can do it, and playing like this is fun, right? This is about as much fun as I can think of. You got the Paulo Emilio, YOLO, rushes, suicide strikes, whatever you want to call them. The German secondary attacks, getting into position, Baltimore backing up, where you going, holy God. But this is it. So if you can find a ship that does this well, and the Bismarck does, go ahead and go for it. Don't get the Bismarck B and then just sit in the back. Just look at your other teammates and say, I guess battleships just sit in the back and shoot shells downrange. That's apparently what we do, because that's what I'm seeing all my other teammates do. No, get the damn Bismarck as close to the enemy as you safely can, and the position of the destroyers generally is going to dictate that, or how much concentrated fire you get from multiple enemy ships will slow your forward progress. But get as far forward as you can. Get it within the secondary range. Then we're compounding the damage. The main guns in the Bismarck have gotten a lot better over the years, and the secondaries have gotten a lot better over the years. So if you can get into position where both of them are damaging simultaneously, then you can pile up lots of damage very quickly. And if we're pointed mostly towards the targets, this is the advantage that we have over the battlecruiser line. Much more sturdy armaments. Okay, so here we're actually squaring off with the Heinrich, the tier 6, I believe, battlecruiser right off the bat. He's opening up with the main guns. I'm not seeing secondary fire. That looks like that might be, I don't know, is he in secondary range or not? Probably doesn't have as powerful of a secondary build as I do, but we should be in range. But we'll just see, how the difference is. You can see our secondary consumable, enhancement consumables also active. And look at the secondaries when we zoom in there, see how tight those groupings are. A lot of you guys still don't try that mod because you want the extra heals. I get it. It's giving up a lot. 2 extra heals, potentially at least 1 extra heal to tighten up those secondaries. But if we're playing secondary ships to have the best secondary experience, do it right. Because those actually, that's how all my secondary ships are set up. I use the mod consistently, and I can tell you 100% with experience, especially on the Bismarck and these the first version, the non-battle cruiser lines, the secondaries get a little bit wonky when that thing's not going off. Sure, you'll still get a lot of hits, but unless it's close range, you're going to be missing a lot of hits. And the closer range you get, by the way, the less effective the shells are against battleships. You do need to keep that in mind. More effective against cruisers and destroyers, but because of the heavy armor on the battleships and the aim point of the computer when it's aiming for you, the secondaries, it actually aims waterline. So when you get really close to a battleship, they're going to start hitting all the shells into the side of the ship, and then you're just basically hoping for fire damage. Heinrich coming in close here now. We have the health advantage, thusly. He's got the cover advantage, the assistance from his team, because we got one North Carolina to the north of us, and he's going to be eventually going behind that island to the north of us. So he winds up having a pretty good game, but I wasn't too impressed with his support to open here, unfortunately. But we knew the Heinrich was probably going to send some torps our way. That's why we kind of hit that island, put on the brakes, back up here, and that gives us the opportunity to stop getting shot by all these multiple ships, right? Trading damage, you could also change the name from World of Warships Legends to Trading Damage Simulator. That's what we're doing here. We don't want 3 ships shooting at us. Well, we're only shooting at 1 at a time. All right. Backing up. We're not worried about the torpedo strike currently, unless he tries to turn and get that other side of the ship pointed towards us. Then we would know, okay, we got to look out for another torpedo salvo. Of course, eventually he'll reload as well, but we're going to hopefully kill him by then. Trying to knock out some guns here, why not? It's always fun if we're dueling battleships close range. Shooting the turrets, knocking them out is one of the great joys that you can experience. And here you can even see the aim point there. Look at where the shells are hitting the Heinrich. It's back and to the left. It's waterline, and then they wind up being, I think they're aim midpoint, but because they travel slowly, they wind up to the back. But anyway, you'll see them hitting back and waterline. This is the auto aim point. Does get some other torps off the other side, but not towards us. Do get him there. Looks like he got him with a fire. Took a vicious shot on the Flander as well, because we knew we had the battle cruiser on the ropes, and the secondaries were pummeling him. Hopefully the North Carolina north of us was shooting him as well, and we just took a vicious shot at the broadside Flander and got him pretty good. Now the secondaries are going off again. We got that mod active once again, and look at the difference. Look at all these numbers popping up rapidly, and the damage is going to start cruising up here, and Flander's in trouble. All right. So we got one more heal in the bank. We're trying to slow down here. Should probably stop advancing, because once we poke forward a little bit more west, then the ship to the south of us can start shooting at us. So there we slam on the brakes finally. But I think it's a little bit too late looking back here. But anyway, we're giving them lots of damage here. Flander on the ropes. We are protected there, so good maneuvering. After all, I was just looking on the map, thinking we might be exposed, but well, we were taking a little bit of shots there. You get the idea, though. Try and limit how many ships are shooting at you at any given time. There we go there. Take him down. Another fire. Didn't get close quarter experts for either of those. But essentially those are both secondary kills. 133 damage. What are we at? Just over approaching the 6-minute mark. That's pretty good so far. And Miyoko. And here's another one. We weren't necessarily expecting 2 cruisers over here, but we got a Martel close range. Now, the Martel close range, he can launch torpedoes pointing towards us. If it was the Miyoko forward, he would have to turn around to torp us. The Japanese cruisers generally only launch torpedoes backwards, except for a couple of exceptions. But we get a vicious shot on the Martel here. We're probably going to go down here, either due to the fact that we got 2v1 high damage output cruisers versus us, and we're getting low, or the expected torpedo strikes. I'm going to try and blow him up here. I don't quite get him. Hopefully the secondaries can finish this off. Of course, our support up north might be able to get him as well, but there comes the torpedo launch. Is it in the water? There it goes. All right, so that's going to be a coup de grace on us, but we do get him as well. And that's a look at the Bismarck B for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all there. Hey, all right, peace.